Greetings, nerds and virgins. UFC 249 is very, very stacked because of the bet, and now it's all stacked. All the fights in UFC 249 are watchable, even the ones on the early prelims, and the ones in the prelims can headline cards. Main card is stacked as well, so I'll predict every fight. Ryan Spann versus Sam Alvey. I think Ryan Spann wins this one. I think he's gonna KO him or TKO him or even a decision. I think Sam Alvey's chin is gone. So the way Ryan Spann knocked out Nogueira, vicious. I think he's gonna KO Sam Alvey as well. I like Sam Alvey. He says if he loses this fight, he's gonna get cut, and I think he's gonna get cut. That's very unfortunate, but it is what it is. So the next fight, Bryce Mitchell versus Charles Rosa. I haven't watched a single fight from Charles Rosa, but I have watched some fights from Bryce Mitchell, and I think Bryce Mitchell is a very good fighter. I've seen him in the Ultimate Fighter. He was a good fighter. He survived a nut accident. His nut exploded during not exploded, but it got smashed during training. He survived it. He's a bad motherfucker, and that's why I think he's gonna win this fight. I think he's gonna win by decision or submission. And then the next one, Vicente Luque versus Nico Price. I think Vicente Luque wins this one. This is a rematch, and Luque won the first fight. He knocked down Nico Price, and then got him with I think Darce choke or some kind of a choke. And I think this one again, I think Luque finishes Nico Price. But one thing that worries me is that Vicente Luque got punished, got destroyed by Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, and that could have diminished his chin. However, I think Nico Price he's awkward. He knocks people out in awkward angles. Very unpredictable. But I think Vicente Luque is a all-around better fighter. That's why I think he's going to finish Nico Price again. So we go to the prelims. Uriah Hall versus Jacare Souza. I think Jacare Souza wins this one. I think Uriah Hall, his grappling is never getting better, okay? He's never getting better. And Jacare Souza is one of the best grapplers in the middleweight division. And I think he's going to submit him or TKO him by ground and pound. However, if Uriah Hall wins this one, it's going to be like the way how he knocked out Gegard Mousasi. But it's the chance of him landing that kind of shot against Jacare Souza is very, very slim. It could happen, but I don't think it's going to happen. It's like the chance of it happening is like the chance of Jacare Souza getting hit by a lightning. So I think Jacare Souza wins by TKO. I think he could win. I think he can even, like KO him on the feet because of the takedown threats. So Uriah Hall's hands are down. So Jacare Souza hits him with an overhand right, like the way he knocked out Chris Weidman. So I think he could beat him up on the feet. I think he will demolish him on the ground. So I think Jacare Souza, 98%. Carla Esparza versus Michelle Waterson. I think Carla Esparza wins this one. I'm not picking Carla Esparza because I think she's a better fighter. I mean, she is a better fighter, I think. I don't think she's a tremendous fighter, but I just think that Michelle Waterson doesn't have the finishing ability to hurt Carla Esparza. And Carla Esparza, I don't think she has the strongest wrestling, but she has stronger wrestling than Michelle Waterson. That's why I think she's gonna take her down or grind her out and win a boring decision. I think she's gonna win a decision. I don't see her winning by finish. I just see a boring decision by Carla Esparza. And we go to Alexei Oleinik versus Fabricio Verdum. I think Verdum wins this one. Verdum is better on the ground, I think. And I mean, Oleinik has a tremendous ground game. However, Verdum is a world BJJ champion. There's levels to this game, and Verdum's ground game is superior. And I think his Muay Thai game, his stand-up, is just a lot better than Alexei Oleinyk's stand-up. Oleinik is just winging punches. The only way I see Oleinik winning this one is by winging punches and catching Fabricio Verdum with that kind of punch. It could happen because Verdum has been knocked out like a couple times in the past few fights. He got knocked out by Stipe Miocic. He got knocked out by the Russian Volkov, and it could happen. It could definitely happen. But if the best version Alexei Oleinik fights the best version of Fabricio Verdum, I think Verdum wins this one. So I think he's gonna win by decision or TKO. Yes. So Anthony Pettis versus Donald Cerrone. This is the hardest fight for me to pick because both of them are not doing well at this point of their career. And Anthony Pettis is a glass. Okay, he's a glass. He kicks. He breaks his own foot. He punches. He breaks his own fist. And Donald Cerrone he lost like 3 in a row against what's his name, Tony Ferguson, and then Justin Gaethje, and then now Conor McGregor. And if he loses this again to Anthony Pettis, it's gonna be 4 losses in a row. And it's hard to pick because they are both doing very, very bad. However, and the first fight, Anthony Pettis TKO Donald Cerrone with a body kick. However, I think Donald Cerrone is going to win this fight. I just think that Anthony Pettis has diminished a lot more than Donald Cerrone. I think, like, when I look at Donald Cerrone, he's still Donald Cerrone. When I look at Anthony Pettis, he's not Anthony Pettis. He's not Showtime Pettis. The Anthony Pettis that he was when he was a champion, when he was in WEC, when he was just kicking everybody, knocking out everybody with kicks and submitting everybody on the ground. It's just not the same Anthony Pettis. I don't know what happened, but he's just not the same Anthony Pettis. Donald Cerrone, he has diminished. However, he is still Donald Cerrone. That's why I think Donald Cerrone wins this one. I don't know how he's going to win this, but I think he diminished less. So I think that's why Donald Cerrone wins this one. A lot of people are going to pick Anthony Pettis, but I just think Anthony Pettis is not the same Anthony Pettis that he was years ago. So, yeah. So we go to the main card, Greg Hardy versus Yorgan De Castro. I haven't watched many fights from Yorgan De Castro. I have watched some fights from Greg Hardy. Both are kind of new in the heavyweight division. I don't know much about Yorgan De Castro, so I'm going to pick Greg Hardy. Not because I think he's better, but just because I don't know much about Yorgan. So I think I'll pick Greg Hardy. And then we go to the next one, Jeremy Stephens versus Calvin Kattar. Jeremy Stephens is my favorite fighter in the featherweight division. However, I think Calvin Kattar is more technical. I think he's a superior boxer. I don't know about power. Maybe power goes to Jeremy Stephens. Even the chin goes to Jeremy Stephens. However, technique-wise, I think Calvin Kattar is superior than Jeremy Stephens. So that's why I think Calvin Kattar is going to win by decision or TKO. I don't think he's going to knock him clean out, but I think he could TKO him. However, in my dream, I saw Jeremy Stephens knocking out Calvin Kattar with a left hook. So Jeremy Stephens was losing this fight. And then, so Calvin Kattar was punching him when he was exiting with the combination, Jeremy Stephens clipped him with a looping left hook. And then he knocked him down. And then it was over. He just knocked him out with a left hook, and then it was over. Clean knockout. Calvin Kattar's leg was shaking, and it was a knockout. And Jeremy Stephens could definitely KO Calvin Kattar. He has the power. He has the chin. He has the experience. He has the cardio. However, I just think that Calvin Kattar is a better boxer. So I hope Jeremy Stephens wins somehow, but I think Calvin Kattar is going to win. We go to the heavyweight clash between Francis Ngannou versus Jairzinho Rozenstruik. And a lot of people might not know the fact that Serginho Rosenstrike had like 80 plus kickboxing records. So striking wise, Serginho Rosenstrike has like maybe like 5 or 6 or 10 times more of an experience over Francis Ngannou. That doesn't necessarily mean that he's a better striker than Francis Ngannou, but it kind of matters. However, I think Francis Ngannou takes this one because Francis Ngannou has a tremendous chin. Rosenstrike also has a tremendous chin. The way he showed it against Overeem. Francis Ngannou showed his chin against Stipe Miocic. However, I think all around, MMA wise, I think Francis Ngannou is a better MMA fighter. I think his counter game with a left hook, right uppercut counter is just vicious. I think he can knock out everybody. He has tremendous chin. He is tremendously strong. I think he can take down Rosenstrike at his will if he tries to, if he attempts to. I don't think he will. He could maybe if he gets hurt. But if he goes for the takedown, I think he will land the takedown because he's tremendously strong. Maybe not the best wrestler technique-wise, but he's strong. So that's why he's going to take down Rosenstrike if he tries to. And I just think that all around Francis Ngannou is a better MMA fighter. So maybe it goes the distance. I think it could go the distance because maybe both are worried about each other's power. So it could end up like Derek Lewis versus Francis Ngannou number 2. However, I think it's going to be a little bit more, at least a little bit more action than that one. And I think Francis Ngannou wins this one. I think he could knock him out. Or I think he's going to win by... I think he could like do a Kimura on Rosenstrike like the way he did it to... what's his name? Freight Train. Anthony Hamilton, yeah. I think he can submit him as well. So... yeah, I think Francis Ngannou wins this one. And then we go to Henry Cejudo versus Dominick Cruz. At first I thought Henry Cejudo was going to win this fight. And then I thought about it. And now I think Dominick Cruz wins this fight. Unless Dominick Cruz shows up diminished because of all the injuries and because of all the layoff, I think he's going to win this one. Because Henry Cejudo has to use his wrestling and his striking together to win fights. I don't think he has the best ground top pressure with the wrestling, even though he's an Olympic gold medalist. He has great takedowns, but he's not like Daniel Cormier, where where he can control fighters on the top position. And Dominick Cruz has one of the best takedown defense, and I think you might say I'm crazy, but I think Dominick Cruz has stronger wrestling than Henry Cejudo. I just think that. And I think when you see the fight against Henry Cejudo versus the Demetrius Johnson, the second one, Henry Cejudo did win the fight, but he missed a lot of punches. He couldn't land much on Demetrius Johnson, and I think that's gonna happen against Dominick Cruz as well. I think Dominick Cruz, he's a stand-up game is too much for Henry Cejudo. I think he's gonna win by decision. I don't think he's gonna finish him. I think he's gonna win by decision. So Henry Cejudo is gonna swing. He's gonna miss because Dominick Cruz is the master of evading punches. So I think some of you might think that after watching Cody Garbrandt beating Dominick Cruz and knocking him down a couple times, maybe you think that Henry Cejudo can do the same thing to Dominick Cruz. But Henry Cejudo is not Cody Garbrandt. He doesn't punch as hard as Cody Garbrandt. He's not a boxer like Cody Garbrandt. He doesn't have the head movement like Cody Garbrandt. And I just think that Dominick Cruz is gonna win by decision. Henry Cejudo is gonna attempt some takedowns. I think he's gonna maybe land once, but I think Dominick Cruz is gonna get back up to his feet or defend all the takedowns. I think he's gonna win by decision, 5-round decision. And new Dominick Cruz once again And now we go to the main event. Tony Ferguson versus Justin Gaethje. I think Justin Gaethje wins this fight. It's a very, very bad matchup for Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson, I know he's one of the best fighters in the lightweight division. He's the number 1 ranked lightweight fighter. I think he beats Khabib. I think he beats Khabib stylistically, like the way Luke Rockhold beat Chris Weidman. However, when Tony Ferguson faces Justin Gaethje, who has one of the hardest punching power in the lightweight division, and he's not the Justin Gaethje that he was like 2 years ago. He's the new Justin Gaethje. He's the new Justin Gaethje that knocked out James Vick in the first round. He's the new Justin Gaethje that knocked out Edson Barboza in the first round, and the new version that knocked out Donald Cerrone in the first round. Maybe you think that, oh, James Vick is a glass jaw. But James Vick was like on a 3 or 4 fight winning streak, and he was like minus 200 something favorite. Okay, a lot of people, including myself, picked James Vick to win that fight, and I think Justin Gaethje has one of the hardest punching power in the lightweight division. It's a bad matchup for Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson should have fought Khabib. I mean, unfortunately, because of all the pandemic, he couldn't fight Khabib. It's a very unfortunate situation for Tony Ferguson because he's gonna lose. I think he's gonna get KO'd. I mean, until now, he was able to recover. He got knocked down, like, I counted it, and he got knocked down 12 times in his whole career. He got knocked down 12 times, but he never got knocked out. But Justin Gaethje hits way harder. Hits nothing like Anthony Pettis. Hits nothing like Kevin Lee. Hits nothing like Donald Cerrone. He hits like a truck. He hits hard. And when he hits Tony Ferguson, if he gets knocked down, he might not be able to recover. And even if he's able to recover, Justin Gaethje will follow it with a couple of shots, and I think he's gonna sleep Tony Ferguson. I think it's a bad matchup for Tony Ferguson. The only way Tony Ferguson wins this fight is surviving the first 2 rounds, which could happen. But Justin Gaethje will land on Tony Ferguson. Tony Ferguson is not Conor McGregor. He's not going to be able to evade all the punches from Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje will land at least 10 punches in the first 10 rounds. At least 10. And those 10 punches are vicious, and I think he's going to knock him clean out. I just think he's going to knock him clean out. Very unfortunate for Tony Ferguson, but I think he's going to knock him out. And it is what it is. So, it is Justin Gaethje versus Khabib Nurmagomedov. And that's it for my prediction. So, yeah. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.